Article 2 speaks of participation in the social life. And in this article, 3 points are mentioned: authority, the common good, and responsibility and participation by all. Let's take a look at each of these important principles. First of all, authority. This is something that we know from our own human experience, that in any group, in any society, somebody has to be in charge. And if we've ever had an experience where final decisions are made not by an individual, but rather by the vote of a committee, we know that that's a structure that will eventually implode on itself. That's a structure that really will not foster a healthy institution, a healthy society, but rather it's important for someone to have authority within a group, within a society. The authority required by the moral order derives from God, and all are duty-bound to give honor to authority and to treat those who are charged to exercise it with respect, and insofar as it is deserved, with gratitude and goodwill. If authority belongs to the order established by God, the choice of the political regime and the appointment of rulers are left to the free decision of the citizen. There's an importance for the principle of subsidiarity, that citizens be able to choose their leaders, that their leaders not be imposed upon them. Certain communist societies, especially in the People's Republic of China, they don't know of elections. Only within the party, the Communist Party, are decisions made. The person on the street doesn't take part at all in any decision regarding who is going to be in charge, from the most supreme to the most basic person who has authority. The citizen has no voice, and we can see what a danger this is. There are a diversity of political regimes, which is an acceptable situation, provided they serve the common good of the communities that have adopted them. Regimes whose nature is contrary to the natural law, to the public order, and to the fundamental rights of persons are opposed to the common good. Authority does not derive its nature from itself. It does not derive its moral authority from itself. Authority must not be despotic, but must act for the common good as a moral force based on freedom and a sense of responsibility. Authority is legitimate when it seeks the common good and uses morally licit means to attain it. The Catechism addresses the principle of civil disobedience, and it states very wisely that one's conscience is not duty-bound to obey authority when rulers enact unjust laws or take measures contrary to the moral order. A balance of power can be very, very important in a society to make sure that the society does not become despotic. And St. John Paul II speaks of this when he says, "This is the principle of the rule of law, in which the law is sovereign and not the arbitrary will of men." So having spoken of authority, the Catechism speaks of the common good, another key principle in the social teaching of the Church. What is the common good? The common good is the sum total of social conditions which allow people, either as groups or as individuals, to reach their fulfillment more fully and more easily. It consists of 3 essential elements. First of all, it consists of respect for the dignity of the human person. Very, very important for the common good is the respect for the dignity of the human person. The common good depends upon each person being permitted to fulfill his or her vocation. And the common good depends upon the safeguarding of the conditions that are necessary for the freedoms that are required for each person to fulfill his or her vocation, especially the right to act according to a sound norm of conscience and to safeguard privacy and rightful freedom of religion. The social well-being and development of the group itself is a topic that the Catechism speaks of. The proper authority needs to be able to arbitrate between the needs of the individual and the needs of the society. And this is a balance, one that plays out by the dictum that the common good should always serve the dignity of the human person, and the dignity of the human person should always serve the common good. This is a balance that needs to be arbitrated, and it's something that is usually held in a creative tension in a healthy society. The proper authority should ensure that each person has what he or she needs to live a truly human life: food, clothing, health, work, education and culture, suitable information, the right to establish a family, and so on. And of course, the society should always be cultivating peace, something that is very important for the human good and the dignity of the human person. Peace is the stability and security of a just order. An authority should, by morally licit means, secure the society and its members. The common good is the basis of the right to legitimate personal and collective defense. The state properly defends and promotes the common good of civil society, its citizens, and intermediate bodies. And as a society seeks to preserve and defend and promote peace, there is a need for societies to act at a global level, for individual societies around the world to be able to be in communication with one another and to work together toward that common end. Global interdependence implies a universal common good. Each person possesses an inherent human dignity that should be respected and promoted by an organization of the community of nations. The common good is always oriented toward the progress of persons. The order of things must be subordinate to the order of persons and not the other way around. This order is founded on truth, built up in justice, and animated by love. Having spoken of the common good, the Catechism speaks of responsibility and participation in society. Participation or engagement in the life of society for the sake of the common good is a requirement and an obligation inherent in the dignity of the human person. Participation in society is part of the individual's vocation, and it's something that builds up a human being to be connected with something beyond himself or herself, and to participate actively in the common good. Participation begins with the fulfillment of one's personal responsibilities, care for the family, conscientious work, etc. All citizens should take an active part in public life as far as possible, and nations that permit as many citizens as possible to participate freely in public life are to be commended. Continually renewed conversion of life is necessary for realizing the common good. Fraud and subterfuge in the political process are incompatible with the requirements of justice, and much care should be taken to promote institutions that improve the conditions of human life. One is entitled to think that the future of humanity is in the hands of those who are capable of providing the generations to come with reasons for life and optimism.